How are you guys?
What's going on?
So, tonight...
I got a new face.
Yeah, check this guy out.
This is cool.
It looks awesome. So, you know, he's a demon, so of course...
Yep.
Just change form and shit.
Oh.
Me, my hair just gets more ratty, and I'm technically corporeal and shit.
Apparently.
So,
right.
Tonight we are talking about Willy Pickton.
Willy Pickton. So.
Hey!
Hey.
Hello,
Hi, Natalie.
whoever tagged me.
That was...
Hello. And hello. Hello, other 3 viewers as well.
Well.
Thanks, Natalie. She says, ooh, you guys just get cooler and cooler. Or hotter and hotter.
Yep.
He is a demon. It's really hot sitting next to him.
It's hot in here.
Whew. God. So tonight we are talking about... Oh, hey, Cosmo, what's up?
Hey, Cosmo. What's going on?
Tonight we are talking about Willy Pickton, the pig farmer from hell. That too. Yeah, we are talking about Willy Pickton, the pig farmer from hell. And let's just get into this. So if you guys didn't know, this is one of Canada's most prolific serial killers. Yes, Natalie, we are talking about bacon.
Well, there's a chance that if you've lived in Montana or any of those places, back in the 80s, you ate people.
It's that long pork.
Yep. The delicious long pork.
The delicious long pork. It just melts in your mouth. Alright, so Robert William Pickton, known as Willy Pickton, was born October 24th, 1949, and is a Canadian serial killer and former pig farmer. I almost said American serial killer because I'm so used to that.
Yep.
I mean, the Canadians are just so nice.
Technically, he is an American serial killer. It's part of North America.
Not the U.S.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Canadians are just so nice, eh?
Oh, God.
Canadian bacon, you hosers.
That reminds me of the movie Canadian Bacon. That movie was freaking awesome.
Mikey!
Mikey, what's up, man?
Alright, so after dropping out of school, Pickton soon began working full-time at his family's pig farm. He was arrested in 2002. He was convicted in 2007 of second-degree murders of 6 women, and also the subject of a lengthy investigation that yielded evidence of numerous other murders. Pickton was charged with the deaths of an additional 20 women. Many were from Vancouver's downtown east side, which I believe we've touched on that area before. But these charges were stayed by the Crown in 2010. Pickton was sentenced to life in prison, and he had no possibility of parole for 25 years. The longest possible sentence for murder under Canadian law at the time
He will probably be out right now in a couple years. No joke. He will be out in a couple years.
Probably.
Yeah.
Playing Samurai Showdown for Sega Genesis. What?
Nice.
I miss my Sega Genesis.
Oh, everyone's coming in now. Look at this.
Hey!
I got new horns.
Dude, seriously.
This works right here. This is like seriously such a cool mask.
Look at this flaming piece of meat next to me. And I don't mean like flaming. I mean like he's hot.
Hey. Stop it.
I would still do
Where's
you.
Jake?
Where's Jake? I don't know.
Speaking of flaming.
Jake, where are you? Send it to him. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
How are you? So, during the trial's first days of jury evidence, the Crown stated that Pickton had confessed to 49 murders to an undercover agent from the Office of Inspector General who was posing as a cellmate. The Crown reported that Pickton had told the officer that he was to kill another woman to make it an even 50.
Yeah, I actually do believe he was going for 50. Or he was trying to just go for as many people as possible. Now,
Jacob, come hither to the feed.
There's another thing with him, too.
Hi, Sven.
Hi, Sven.
How are you?
He is a missionary killer, too. You will see here. When we get into this, Willy Pickton, even though he picked up sex workers left and right and went after them, he never drank, never used drugs or anything like that. Even though he sold drugs to them and used drugs to get them to come over.
Mm-hmm. So he said he was caught because he was sloppy.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry is kind of funny for a pig farmer.
Well, no. The weird thing is he wasn't exactly. When we get into it, like, okay, so the Vancouver PD at the time did not care about
the women that he was killing.
They were sex workers to them, and they were like, oh, he's already just doing a job as it is. He was actually almost got caught a couple different times. You know, one of the times one of the girls he actually gutted. She ran down the road, got help. She cut his face into his cheek, into his mouth. And I think almost got his artery right there. But she was literally running down the road with guts in her hand. Someone picked her up. A couple picked her up, and then they went and got help. They called the police on him. Then Willy Pickton and his brother. Mind you, another thing we're going to get into here for a second. Willy Pickton, he's a multimillionaire. No joke.
I'm sorry, but I'm laughing because apparently you remind Sharon S. of Giles.
We'll bring it up.
When he got turned into a demon.
Giles. Who's Giles again?
Don't remember Giles?
Mm-mm.
The one with the accent? British accent? Buffy
From
the
what?
Vampire.
Oh, I never watched.
I said Buffy.
Oh, I didn't see Buffy for a second.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Yay.
I take that as a compliment too.
Yeah.
He was awesome as a demon. Anyway.
But I forgot what I was saying.
Well, let's go into his early life. So, Robert William Pickton was born to Leonard and Louise Pickton, a family of pig farmers in Port Coquitlam.
Yeah, you said it right.
In British Columbia, 17 miles east of Vancouver. Before he was born, his older sister Linda was sent to live with relatives in Vancouver as their parents thought that the pig farm would be an inappropriate setting to raise a lady.
Another thing too.
4-H disagrees.
Huh?
I said 4-H would disagree.
For what?
The pig farm being an inappropriate place to raise a lady.
No, it's how they were raising the lady, and actually, the daughter just left because she got fed up with her own family.
Well, so
they were not good people, not by at all. So
well, Robert and his younger brother David began working the farm at their early ages. At very early ages. Luis was very demanding, prioritizing the pigs over the brothers' personal hygiene and forcing them to work long hours, raising the farm's livestock. She often sent them to school unwashed, dirty clothes, reeking of manure, and this earned the brothers the nickname Stinky Piggy from their classmates.
They actually took as a sign of respect. They actually liked it. They did not like to bathe. That's another thing too. They did not like to bathe in any way, shape, or form.
Hi, Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Willie Pickton actually hates water. He doesn't. The most he takes a bath at. I'm pretty sure now that he's actually in prison now, they make him bathe regularly, but he would not bathe at all. And even as a kid, they did not care about the house was left open. Livestock would run through the house rampantly, like using the bathroom all over the place, everywhere. It just, and they didn't care. That's just how they lived. And the funny thing is, if you could actually see pictures of where they live, it's actually a really rich area. Their farm is like this big old junkyard, and then around it, it's just rich housing, everything like that. It's insane to watch, to see it.
So Pickton was strongly attached to his mother, and had little interaction with his abusive father. When he was in his early teens, he used his savings to buy a calf, which became his beloved pet. One day, after failing to find it after school, he was told by his mother to check the barn, where he was heartbroken to find it slaughtered.
Mm-hmm. He walked in on it in the same barn where he killed his victims.
Well, we haven't got there yet. You're jumping ahead here.
Okay.
Sven says, I used to work on a pig farm as a kid. Sven, is there something we need to know? People share out the feed, say hi to both of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, please, guys. Please share, follow, like, smash that bell, get those notifications out. Thank you so much. So, I wonder if that was the trigger point. It might have been. Well, one of them.
Well, yes and no. This is what happened when he was a kid. The family, like I said, was rotten to the core. The entire family was.
Well, so that's really messed up to be like, go check in the barn. And not even saying like, hey, your dad killed it for food. It was just go check in the barn.
Oh, yeah.
Pickton dropped out of school in 63 at the age of 14 and acquired a position as a butcher's apprentice. In 1970, he left his apprenticeship to work full-time at the family farm. His father died in 78. His mother died the following year, leaving the farm to Pickton and his two siblings. Linda and David did not even want the farm, though. David took over the house, and Willie began running the farm on his own while living in a remote area of the property in a trailer.
Again, at the time, too, they bought this farm for next to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
By this time, they already acquired a lot of money, hundreds of thousands. They just lived in poverty on purpose because they just didn't spend the money. They're actually really good. The family to this day is still really good at making money. It's insane to think of that way. But Willie, I don't think he was allowed. How old was? I think he was like 8, or how old was he when this happened? He didn't get his share. They each got.
He was old enough.
His mother purposely put in the will that he wouldn't get his share until like 25. All the siblings actually got 90 grand, 100 grand each, and then portions of the farm and stuff like that. Willie was supposed to get his share later on because his mother actually knew too that Willie was not all there.
Well, it's her fault.
Yes and no. This is one of those nature things, actually.
Let's get into the murders. Worker Bill Hiscox called the farm a creepy-looking place and described Pickton as a pretty quiet guy whose occasional bizarre behavior, despite no evidence of substance abuse, would draw attention. The Pickton brothers began to neglect the site's farming operations. They registered a nonprofit charity, the Piggy Place Good Times Society, with the Canadian government in 1996.
You know who played there?
Claiming to organize, coordinate, manage, and operate special events, functions, dances, shows, and exhibitions on behalf of service organizations, sports organizations, and other worthy groups. Go ahead.
You know who played there?
Who?
Nickelback. No joke. You can find it. That was one of Nickelback's first shows. They actually played there. This was a place where so the Pickton family actually had ties to the Hells Angels and stuff like that. They actually had ties to
Hey Azazel.
Hey Azazel, what's going on? They actually had ties to biker gangs and stuff like that. And basically that's what this place was. It was
a not so
oh no, it was a strip club.
It was a not so neutral Cook's Corner.
It was basically it was a straight up strip club, and they would rent the place out, make thousands in a weekend, easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of. So that's events. Oh, thank you so much. Because she said his cocks.
Hancock. It's foot penis now.
No, it's
Never mind. That's why.
John Foot Penis. It's Hancock. What? Never mind. Mind your business. That's why. God damn it. We did it again. I told somebody earlier that there's at least one Seth MacFarlane reference per show.
Yeah.
So, its events included raves and wild parties featuring Vancouver sex workers and gatherings in a converted slaughterhouse on the farm at, I'm not going to say the address, in Port Coquitlam.
It's still there. It's a known place.
Okay.
So you can say where it's at. It's
953 Dominion Avenue, Port Coquitlam. These events attracted as many as 2,000 people. Members of the Hells Angels were known to frequent the farm.
Mm-hmm.
So you're jumping ahead of me.
Well, we're talking. The notes are all kind of out of order here, right?
On March 23rd, 1997, Pickton was charged with attempted murder of a sex worker, Wendy Lynn.
That's her.
Eistetter, whom he had stabbed several times during the altercation at the farm. Eistetter had informed the police that Pickton had handcuffed her, but that she had escaped after suffering several lacerations. She told them she had disarmed him and stabbed him with his own weapon.
Ran down the road with her guts, no joke, in her hand. That she literally had her stomach opened up and everything was out, and she was holding it.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't laughing at the guts hanging out. I was laughing at foot penis. Pickton sought treatment at Eagle Ridge Hospital, while Eistetter recovered at the nearest emergency room. He was released on $2,000 Canadian bond. Port Coquitlam officials he was charged. I totally just ADD'd out. Okay. The charge was dismissed on January of 98. Months later, the Picktons were sued by Port Coquitlam officials for violating zoning ordinances, neglecting the agriculture for which it had been zoned, and having altered a large farm building on the land for the purpose of holding dances, concerts, and other recreations.
Mm-hmm.
The Picktons ignored the legal pressure and held a 98 New Year's Eve party, after which they were faced with an injunction banning future parties. The police were authorized to arrest and remove any person attending future events at the farm. The society's nonprofit status was removed the following year for inability to produce financial statements, and it was subsequently disbanded.
Yeah.
Little toe dick.
Little toe dick.
So, there we go. Over the course of 3 years.
Hi, Susan.
Hey, Susan, how are you? Over the course of 3 years, his cocks noticed that women who vanished from the farm eventually went missing. On February 6, 2002, police executed a search warrant for illegal firearms at the property. Robert and David Pickton were arrested, and police obtained a second warrant using what they had seen on the property to search the farm as part of the BC Missing Women investigations. Personal items belonging to missing women were found on the farm, which was sealed off by members of the joint RCMP Vancouver Police Department task force. The following day, Pickton was charged with weapons offenses. Both the Picktons were later released. However, Robert Pickton was kept under police surveillance. And if you don't know, I will remind you, Robert Pickton is Willy Pickton.
Yep.
Of course. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
How are you? Oh, thank you so much. Hey, Sykes, what's up? That's what she's... Why does Frank look like Darth Maul?
There is no Frank.
There is no Frank. Hexus might look like Darth Maul. Hi, Dustin. How are you?
Hi, Dustin.
Love it. So, here we go. On February 22nd, Robert Pickton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Serena Abotsway and Mona Wilson. I would just like to put a warning out there. This is about to get really graphic.
Yeah.
Looks really scary, but cool. Yay. What's up? So, yeah, I'm going to put a warning out right now. This is about to get really graphic.
Wait. Can you put the fun warning up? The awesome warning up?
It is also about to get really awesome.
Sorry.
Here you go.
Warning, this video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness.
Viewer discretion is advised. I'm also going to put this warning up here. The related content may be disturbing to some individuals.
Twosomes.
Anyway.
What? You know, I invented those back in the dark ages.
Wouldn't a twosome just be regular sex?
No, it's more involved than that.
Let's get graphic. Yeah! I think that's his job.
That's my job. Actually, a car would bring you back to life, and then you would have to...
In a pet cemetery.
Yeah, you got to be buried in a pet cemetery, then she'll bring you back.
Yep.
Yep.
We are doing great. How are you? Do you know my friend Devour? I do not.
No.
But I'm going to have to go check him out. So, on April 2nd, 3 more charges were added for the murder of Andrea Josbury. What? Was laid on April 9th. What? Oh, here we go. 3 more charges were added for, okay, Jacqueline McDonnell, Diane Rock, Heather Bottomley. 6 charges for the murder of Andrea Josbury was laid on April 9th, followed shortly by the 7th for Brenda Wolfe. On September 20th, 4 more charges were added for the slayings of Georgina Papin, Patricia Johnson, Helen Hallmark, and Jennifer Firminger. 4 more charges for the murders of Heather Chinnock, Tanya Holick, Sherry Irving, and Inga Hall were laid on October 3rd, bringing the total to 15. This was the largest investigation of any serial killer in Canadian history.
This is one of the most prolific serial killers in Canadian history for how long it went on for.
Yes.
It went on from the 70s, late 70s, or there's actually
if it was in the 70s, then it was probably his parents.
No, late 70s.
His parents died in the late 70s.
I'm sorry, early 80s. Well, whatever, 78. It's around then is when things really started.
Well, his dad died in 78, his mom died in 79.
But he was 14 and
He was not 14.
3.
Yeah.
So then he was in his 20s in the late 70s.
Just saying. It's very possible. Why does this do that? Why does this do that? Anyway. So, but you have to sing it like the Ramones.
Right.
Okay.
In the shadow
Need
of the
more
horn.
black metal in our
In
lives.
the Shadow of the Horns by Dark Throne. That's what popped in my head right now.
Hello, Tyler.
Hi, Tyler.
Heavenly Bottom. What kind of name is that? I'll have to go back and look at what it was. I'm new. First time meeting you. I follow others like you. Well, thank you so much.
Nice.
I appreciate it.
Well, we're here every Friday.
And I believe her name...
Mother de la Mort is here every Wednesday.
Oh, Heather Bottomley, not Heavenly Bottom.
No, I would say it's Heavenly Bottom.
But I
now.
like Heavenly Bottom.
Heavenly Bottom. It's a Heavenly Bottom.
There
now.
needs to be somebody named that now. I'm now going to be working on a character with a big old booty. I mean, yeah. So on May 26, 2005, 12 more charges were laid against Pickton for the killings of Clara Ellis, Andrea Borhaven, Deborah Lynn Jones, Marnie Frey, Tiffany Drew, Carrie Koski, Sarah DeAvries, or DeVries, excuse me, Cynthia Felix, Angela Jardine, Wendy Crawford, Diana Melnick, and Jane Doe, which, they still haven't figured her out, bringing the total of first-degree murder charges to 27.
Which he was only charged for 6.
Mm-hmm.
He was only convicted of 6 of them. I'm sorry.
I'm on my way to work while listening to... Nice.
Oh, nice.
It was very nice to meet you.
Bye.
Yeah. It gets a little brutal here.
Oh, the trial itself was... he almost got away with it, because the Canadian police and even the judge didn't really care about sex workers in any way, shape, or form. They really did see him as doing a service to...
I don't think we've mentioned that they were sex workers yet.
We haven't mentioned there were sex workers left and right.
So, in case we haven't really said it, yeah, they were sex workers, and they were predominantly indigenous.
Yep. First Nation.
Mm-hmm. And so...
Canada does not treat the First Nation right in any way, shape, or form.
No. So excavations continued at the farm. Through November 2003, the cost of the investigation estimated to have been about $70 million Canadian by the end of 2003, according to the provincial government. As of 2015, the property is fenced off under lien by the Crown in right of British Columbia. In the meantime, all the buildings on the property except a small barn have been demolished. Forensic analysis proved difficult because the bodies have been left to decompose or be eaten by insects and pigs on the farm.
Well,
during the early days of the excavation, forensic anthropologists brought in heavy equipment, including 2 50-foot flat conveyor belts and soil sifters to find traces of human remains. On March 10th, 2004, the government revealed that Pickton may have ground up human flesh and mixed it with pork and sold it to the public. The province's health authority later issued a warning. Another claim was made that he fed the bodies directly to the pigs.
He did all the above. And the funny thing is that where he sold he sold pig meat to the butchers and stuff like that, the stuff that he can get away with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, like arms and legs and stuff like that, he actually would toss those in the woods, heads, all that stuff. Toss that out in the woods wherever he could do. That's why he actually did find skulls and stuff like that on his property. One of the things that he actually did that was a
Go ahead.
One of the things that he actually did, where he sold stuff to,
mm-hmm.
was sorry, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this real fast.
Okay, I really lost my train of thought. Oh my god. One of the places they actually sold places to was like a rendering plant, where they actually made makeup out of the fats and stuff like that. It literally was a scene, practically what would have happened in like a Fight Club and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
where they made fat out of soap they used fat from human bodies to make soaps and stuff like that. So there's also a chance that you're wearing human people as makeup, especially back in the 80s. Because candy, all that stuff. So
there's something I wanted to say here. So if you guys have seen Snatch, I'm gonna quote it. You're always gonna have problems lifting a body in one piece. Apparently the best thing to do is cut up a corpse into 6 pieces and pile it all together. When you got your 6 pieces, you got to get rid of them, because it's no good leaving it in a deep freeze for your mom to discover, now is it? Then I hear the best thing to do is feed them to pigs. You got to starve the pigs for a few days, and then the sight of chopped up body will look like curry to a piss head. You got to shave the heads of your victims and then pull the teeth out for the sake of the piggy's digestion. You could do this afterwards, of course, but you don't want to go sieving through pig shit, now do you? They will go through bone like butter. You need at least 16 pigs to finish the job in one farm, or in one sitting, so be wary of any man who keeps a pig farm. They will go through a body that weighs 200 pounds in about 8 minutes. That means that a single pig can consume 200 pounds of uncooked flesh every minute. hence the expression as greedy as a pig. And we're going to go to commercial. And where's the commercial? No. There we go.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
Oh, hi! First thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
All right.
Hello. Natalie, you had the same idea that I did.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's pretty bad, Cosmo. Yeah, Sven says it seems very common for judges to give a blind eye to serial killers. It does.
It's not so much serial killers, it's serial killers who go after sex workers. That's how a lot of them got away with it. Mind you, too, Gary Ridgway was active during the same time Willy Pickton was active in Vancouver, and he was in Seattle, Washington. And they actually think a lot of some of Willy Pickton's victims are actually Gary Ridgway's victims. So.
What mask? Mask? I'll tell you later. I'll talk to you later, Sykes. She says the quote kept running through my head. I know. Greedy as a pig. Bricktop. I love that movie. God, I do. Okay, so here we go. Preliminary inquiry. A preliminary inquiry was held in 2003, the testimony from which was covered by a publication ban. Really? Until 2010. At the inquiry, the fact was revealed that Pickton had been charged with attempted murder in connection with the stabbing of a sex worker, Wendy Lynn Eistetter, in 97. Eistetter testified at the inquiry that after Pickton had driven her to Port Coquitlam farm and had sex with her, he slapped a handcuff on her left hand and stabbed her in the abdomen.
Which was his MO, actually. The first thing he would actually say that he would do, he would just, the minute he got a handcuff on him, and especially would get it behind their backs, he would perform, they would have sex, and then slit their throats.
She said that he handcuffed her after, in this situation.
Yeah, he kind of messed up in this, but for the most part, yeah, you get the handcuffs on them, put their hands behind their back. You know, they trusted him a little bit, and that's all it took. And the minute the handcuffs were on there, I think he either slit their throats or he had also a wire with attached to 2 pieces of wood, and would use that to cut right through that.
So get this. She stabbed Pickton in self-defense. Later, both she and Pickton were treated at the same hospital, where staff used a key they found in Pickton's pocket to remove the handcuffs from her wrists.
Yeah.
Come on.
You can actually see where this is going here.
A garrote? Yes.
There you go, yeah. A garrote.
garrote.
Yeah. Garrote, yeah.
So, the attempted murder charge against Pickton was stayed on January 27, 1998, because the woman had drug addiction issues, and prosecutors believed her too unstable for her testimony to help secure a conviction. The clothes and rubber boots Pickton had been wearing that evening were seized by the police and left in RCMP storage locker for more than 7 years. Not until 2004 did lab testing show that the DNA of the woman was on the items, DNA of 2 women, Borhaven and Ellis, was on the items seized from Pickton in 97. In 98, according to Vancouver Police Detective Constable Loramir Shinher, learned of a call made to a police tip phone line stating that Pickton should be investigated in the case of the women's disappearances. According to Shinher's account, described at length in his 2015 book about the case, he struggled to attract sufficient police resources and attention to the case until 2002. Search of Pickton's farm until the 2002 search of Pickton's farm by RCMP. By the way, RCMP is the Royal Crown Mounted Police.
Canadian. Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Royal Canadian, rather.
Sorry.
Whatever.
The Mounties.
They're the Mounties. The Mounties are awesome.
The Canadian Mounties in this actually were opposite of the VPD, or the Vancouver Police Department. They actually did an awesome job, and they do their job really, really well. The Canadian Police Department, the Vancouver Police Department, on the other hand, at the time, didn't care.
Yeah. Natalie says, that's so sad. It kind of reminds me of that one victim of Dahmer. Yeah.
Well, what happened here, too, the reason why, they also said drugs. The main thing is, too, she never showed back up for her trial because she was being intimidated by the Picktons. They had Hell's Angels going after everything before the trial. She never showed up. And because of that, it looked bad for her, and he was set free. Basically, what he also told the courts and everything like that, it was she tried to steal money from him, and then she slashed at him, and they got into a tussle, and it was basically like an accident that he stabbed her a few times, which with her guts out. So.
In 1999, Canadian police had received a tip that Pickton had a freezer filled with human flesh on his farm. Although they interviewed Pickton, who denied killing the missing women, and obtained his consent to search the farm, the police didn't conduct a search at the time.
Yep.
So let's get into the trial. Pickton's trial began on January 30th, 2006 in New Westminster. Pickton pled not guilty to 27 charges of first-degree murder in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. The voir dire phase of the trial took most of the year to determine what evidence might be admissible before the trial, before the jury.
Voir dire.
Huh.
You know how I know that?
Huh.
My cousin Vinny. He used that term a lot in there. Well, if you want to voir dire the two youths. I'm just kidding.
So,
he really did, though.
reporters were not allowed to disclose any of the material presented in the arguments. On March 2nd, one of the 27 counts was rejected by Justice James Williams for lack of evidence.
This guy is a piece of work. He's the reason why they only got 6 convictions out of him, even though they should have got 49.
Yeah. So, on August 9th, Justice Williams served the charges, splitting them into one group of 6 counts and another of 20 counts. The trial proceeded on the group of 6 counts. The remaining 20 counts could have been heard in a separate trial, but ultimately were stayed on August 4th, 2010.
Natalie.
Because of the publication ban, full details of the decision are not publicly available. But the judge has explained that trying all 26 charges at once would have put an unreasonable burden on the jury.
Exactly.
As the trial could last up to 2 years. It also would have had an increased chance for a mistrial. The judge added that the 6 counts he chose had materially different evidence from the other 20. Office of Inspector General Senior Investigator R.J. McDougald was case agent for the investigation.
Look, all it takes is one case.
Hey, Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Can you restart the show and repeat everything up to this point? Yes.
All it takes is one of them to stick. Just because this guy did, it was again the same thing. He had this thing against sex workers, and they all thought the same stuff. The only reason why they really started coming after Willy was because it started getting out of hand.
Natalie, what is a grit? Grits and coffee?
What is a grit?
Ooh, I want coffee.
So you're telling me that a grit, your kitchen defies the laws of physics here. It takes, what was it, like a minute and a half to cook grits. But you're telling me you can cook grits in 30 seconds.
So, the date for the jury trial of the first 6 counts was initially set to start January 8th, 2007, but later postponed to January 22nd. On that date, Pickton faced first-degree murder charges in the deaths of Frey, Abotswe, Papin, Josbury, Wolf, and Wilson. The media ban was lifted, and for the first time, Canadians heard the detail of what was found during the long investigation. Skulls cut in half, with hands and feet stuffed inside. The remains of one victim found stuffed in a garbage bag.
Mm-hmm.
Her blood-stained clothing found in Pickton's trailer. Part of another victim's jawbone and teeth were found besides Pickton's slaughterhouse.
The next thing you're about to read, I'm sorry, I laughed my ass off at it. I did.
Hold on.
You're gonna. It's hilarious.
I know. I've read it. A .22 caliber revolver with an attached dildo containing both his victims' DNA.
He said, and I quote, he used the dildo as a silencer for the revolver. Sorry. Could you imagine the Canadian, the Royal Mounties just coming out there with a dildo on a gun?
So, in a videotaped recording played for the jury, Pickton claimed to have attached the dildo to his weapon as a makeshift silencer.
Sorry.
So, I hear that many officials were at this pig farm party.
They were.
And that's the true reason why they
a lot of
the trial.
a lot of the officials actually came to the bar all the time, to the strip club, and
Canadians murder? I thought they drank beer and played hockey.
Oh no,
That's
no,
true.
they murder you in a very passive aggressive way.
Eh.
They backseat drive the entire way of murdering you.
Eh.
But
I can make these jokes. My grandpa's Canadian.
You could imagine though how some of the ways he killed these women with that gun.
Mm-hmm. So, as of February 20th, 2007, the following information has been presented to the court. During Pickton's trial, labs staff testified that about 80 unidentified DNA profiles roughly half male and half female, have been detected on evidence. The items police found inside Pickton's trailer: a loaded .22 revolver with ammunition, with a dildo over the barrel and 1 round fired.
It was
boxes
loaded.
of
It was loaded.
.357 Magnum handgun ammo.
It wasn't firing blanks.
Night vision goggles, 2 pairs of faux fur lined handcuffs, a syringe with 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside, and Spanish fly, the aphrodisiac.
Jesus Christ, man.
Sharon S. said, a dildo silencer isn't very passive, just aggressive.
I don't know. I don't know. They're Canadians. They'll find a way to make it passive aggressive.
We still have the grits going on. Well, there are instant grits, quick grits, 5-minute grits. If we're talking about gritology.
Instant grits. Ain't no self-respecting Southern that makes instant grits.
Canadian serial quote, sorry, but I gonna kill you now. My grandfather was Canadian. Great-grandfather was Canadian. I find this totally believable.
Right. Yeah,
True.
They're just gonna backseat drive the entire way.
It
of
doesn't
killing you.
shoot blanks. Kiss my grits. So, the next item was a videotape of Pickton's friend, Scott Chubb, saying Pickton had told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict was to inject her with windshield washer fluid. A second tape was played for Pickton in which an associate named Andrew Bellwood said Pickton mentioned killing sex workers by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to pigs. Photos of the contents of a garage can found in Pickton's slaughterhouse, which held some remains of Mona Wilson.
Yep.
Eh.
Don't forget the eh.
Oh my god, right? Yeah, this is about to get even more brutal, guys.
I told you it was happier than Columbine.
In 2007, a juror was accused of having made up her mind already that Pickton was innocent. The trial judge questioned the juror, saying, "It's reported to me that you said from what you had seen, you were certain that Mr. Pickton was innocent. There is no way you could have done this. That the court system had already arrested the wrong guy." Saying that the court system had already arrested the wrong guy.
Yep.
The juror denied this completely. Justice Williams ruled that she could remain in the jury since it had not been proven that she made those statements.
It's so ridiculous. Mind you.
Justice James Williams suspended jury deliberations on December 6th after he discovered an error in his charge to the jury.
Yeah. This guy had it in for sex workers. The judge did. He didn't.
Yeah.
He was trying to do anything in his power to get Willie a freaking mistrial.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he was trying to do.
Pickton was definitely a hoser.
Oh, yeah. A hooser.
What are these hosers doing? No way. They just wanted to watch the hockey game.
Yeah.
So, Justice James Williams suspended deliberations on December 6, 2007 after he discovered an error in his charge to the jury. Earlier in the day, the jury had submitted a written question to Justice James requesting clarification of his charge, asking, "Are we supposed to say yes, i.e. find Pickton guilty, if we infer the accused acted indirectly?" On December 9th, 2007, the jury returned a verdict that Pickton was not guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder, but is guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. A second-degree murder conviction carries a punishment of a life sentence with no possibility of parole for a period between 10 to 25 years, to be set by the trial judge. On December 11th, after reading 18 victim impact statements, British Columbia Supreme Court Judge Justice James Williams sentenced Pickton to life with no possibility of parole for 25 years, the maximum punishment for second-degree murder, and equal to the sentence which would have been imposed for a first-degree murder conviction. Mr. Pickton's conduct was murderous and repeatedly so. I cannot know the details, but I know this. What happened to them, the victims, was senseless and despicable. said Justice Williams in passing the sentence. So now we're going to get to Court of Appeals.
Yeah, Natalie says blackmail. It was more probably along the lines of intimidation,
Yeah.
especially with their ties, and the fact that the Picktons have millions.
Makes you wonder if this
They're-
judge was one of the guests of those parties. Yeah.
Oh, more than likely was. This is all. This is a big thing here.
When in doubt, just say yes. What is that smoke smell? Is that you?
I don't know.
Do you smell like smoke? Are you sizzling right now?
It's something from outside. I hope.
He might be sizzling, guys.
Haha.
So, the BC Court of Appeals rendered judgment in June 2009 on 2 appeals, one brought by the Crown prosecution and the other brought by the defense. Crown appeal on December 7th, 2008, God, I can't read today. Attorney General filed an appeal in the British Columbia Court of Appeals against Pickton's acquittals on first-degree murder charges. The grounds of appeal relate to a number of evidentiary rulings made by the trial judge, certain aspects of the trial judge's jury instructions, and the ruling to sever the 6 charges Pickton was tried on from the remaining 20. Some relatives of the victims in the case were taken back by the announcement of the Crown appeal, especially because Attorney General Wally Opal had said a few days earlier that the prosecution would likely not appeal. Although Pickton had been acquitted for the first-degree murder charges, he was convicted of second-degree murder and received the same sentence as if he were charged with first-degree murder. The relatives of the victims expressed concern that the convictions would be jeopardized if the Crown argued that the trial judge had made errors. Opposition critic Leonard Krogh criticized the Attorney General for not having briefed the victims' families in advance. Opal apologized to the victims' families for not informing them of the appeal before it was announced to the general public. He also said that the appeal was filed largely for strategic reasons in anticipation of an appeal by the defense. The prosecution's rationale was that if Pickton appeals his convictions, and if the appeal is allowed, resulting in a new trial, the prosecution will want to hold a new trial on the original 26 charges of first-degree murder. But the Crown would be precluded from doing so unless it had successfully appealed the original acquittals on the first-degree charges and the severance of the 26 counts into the group of 6 and one group of 20. Under the applicable rules of court, the time period for the Crown to appeal expired 30 days after December 9th, when the verdicts were rendered, while the time period for the defense to appeal expired 30 days after December 11th, when Pickton was sentenced. That is why the Crown announced the appeal first, even though the Crown appeal is intended to be conditional on the appeal by the defense. If the defense had not filed an appeal, then the Crown would have withdrawn its appeal.
That's complicated as shit. Natalie,
Yeah.
Sounds like Natalie says.
So, it's the roast. Guys, I cooked the world's tiniest roast today. It's like this big.
No.
What the hell? Sounds like they were dropping the ball everywhere.
This is actually where you get conspiracy theories coming in here, because this is where a lot of people actually think, because of what everyone is saying here, all of you see it, that more than likely a lot of officials were going to this bar, and especially the fact that the Picktons they're multimillionaires. It almost sounds like they were turning a blind eye to stuff on purpose, because maybe he might have been allowed to do that, to go out and kill sex workers and stuff like that.
So, we're going to end it off here. You know what? Let me go into the defense appeal real fast.
I think we're pretty much done here.
No, we can, because we have a lot to do on Sunday with it. So, look.
Yeah.
We have a lot more than I thought. So let's go into the defense appeal, and then we'll start Sunday with decisions of the Court of Appeal. So, defense appeal on January 9th, 2008, lawyers for Pickton filed a notice of appeal in the British Columbia Court of Appeals, seeking a new trial on 6 counts of second-degree murder. The lawyer representing Pickton on the appeal was Gil McKinnon, who had been a Crown prosecutor in the 70s. The notice of appeal enumerated various areas of which the defense alleged that the trial judge erred. The main charge to the jury, the response to the jurors' questions, amending the jury charge, similar fact evidence, and Pickton's statements to the police.
Yeah, Richard said it. I wish I got paid their money to screw up like they did. Exactly.
Right.
It's mind-boggling. After this trial, after everything that happened with Willy Pickton, the Vancouver PD did change, and they started taking the death of sex workers very seriously. Finally, but mind you, that happened it took 2007, 2008 for them to finally start doing it. You know, but
my head's crooked.
yeah. Natalie says Richard's spot on. Yep.
All right, guys.
Oh, good night, Jeff.
Good night.
Oh, next week
Good night to everybody in here. Y'all have a good weekend.
we're gonna be revisiting.
So, yeah, we are going to start touching base on a few other things that we previously talked about. Which one do you want to start? Well,
Oh, obviously.
on the 3rd, we actually have a female serial killer.
Oh, crap, I can't remember right now. Is that next Friday?
Yeah.
I don't remember these things.
Let me show you.
It's fine.
I want to remember her name because I can't remember her name.
Okay.
So, on the 3rd, we are talking about Irina Gaidamakchuk, a.k.a. Satan in a Skirt.
Yep. We can't pronounce her last name either. I forgot about that.
That's going to be fun. It's going to be kind of like Chikatilo.
After that, though.
After the 3rd,
Well, if we get through with that fast.
on the next week, we will be talking about Eramatio.
Eramatio. We'll leave it at that. We won't say who it is, but we'll be talking about Eramatio.
Eramatio.
We're going to be revisiting, redoing
Eramatio.
our
Well,
first
let's
episode.
not do Eramatio, but let's...
Our 2 first episodes, we're going to go back and revisit that serial killer.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Tomorrow night, I forgot to let you guys know this.
She stole my nickname. Satan in a Skirt. Go ahead.
Tomorrow night, we are going to be doing, I guess we're, kicking off spooky season tomorrow night.
Oh.
Yep. 11 o'clock tomorrow night. We're going to have a couple people in here. Mother de la Mort. Us. Maybe a couple other people, who knows. But we'll be kicking off spooky season tomorrow night, actually just talking about what we're going to be doing, ideas that are coming up, everything that's coming up for the next 2 months.
Some fun special announcements.
Interviews.
Some interviews coming up.
Everything.
We have some great interviews lined up. I cannot wait for some of them.
But I think that's it.
Also, just to remind you guys, on September 20th, Steve the Cat is back.
Yay!
All right.
All right, guys. We're out.
Oh, I got to get back over here. Bye, guys.